Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our Facebook Live. We had a bit of a delay due to some technical difficulties. So I hope that everyone who planned to is able to join us for this Facebook Live. And of course, it will be available afterwards on the MyHeritage Facebook page under the videos section. So just in case you've missed it or somebody you know has missed it, you'll be able to tune in later and watch today's fantastic session. We have with us a genealogist that we love hosting here on the MyHeritage Facebook Live show. We have with us Fran Kitto. She always is just such an excited and happy guest, and so thrilled to teach us about her research in genealogy and her hints and tips. So we're really looking forward to today's session. In addition, we have a giveaway for today's show. So we will be giving away a MyHeritage Complete plan at the end of today's show. So all that you have to do to enter is just leave us a comment in the comments section and let us know what you've uncovered in your family history research on MyHeritage. We'll be talking about MyHeritage family research today. So definitely put in a comment in the comments section and let us know, what you've uncovered, whether it's big or small. It could be something through DNA or through a historical record or whatever that is. Let us know. And of course, leave us a comment or a question throughout today's show. We love hearing from you. So we hope that we have some guests from Australia, New Zealand. This time zone tends to be quite good for those parts of the world. So we really hope that we're able to tune into those viewers today. Thank you all for joining us, and let us know where you're tuning in from if you haven't yet, and what's the weather like over there. I see we have Colleen from Sunny Coast. We have Moira from Melbourne, Australia, and met Elizabeth from Norway. So definitely let us know where you're tuning in from, what's going on over there in your part of the world. We love seeing, how international these Facebook Lives can get and where we reach. So let us know. So now I'd like to introduce our speaker. We're going to bring Fran on here onto the screen. Let's bring her on to say hello to everybody.
Hi everybody, how are you going today? Would you like me to start my little talk?
Sure, yeah. Let
Sure.
us know. Tell everyone what you'll be speaking about today.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about using family websites on MyHeritage. So everybody, I'm talking from the Sunshine Coast. So I hope it's been a nice day for you, or it's going to be a nice day because it's been wonderful here. And I do want to welcome my Aussie friends, especially Colleen, because I'm pretty sure I know which Colleen it is that's turned up. She's a great friend. If you haven't said hi in the comments, like Esther said, make sure you do that. And I'd also like to thank MyHeritage this opportunity for me to share my ideas about using family websites on MyHeritage. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an Aussie, but originally from New Zealand. I work full time in my own company business, but I love traveling, doing my blog, playing detective, traveling back through time with my family history. I love a good coffee and a good chat with a friend, and I'm one of those females that actually loves sport. So I have a lot of sports teams, Melbourne Storm, which is the National Rugby League team. I follow Chelsea Football Club in the UK, and the Atlanta Braves is my baseball team. I'm a conference junkie, so I'm waiting to get back to conferencing. But to get on with the talk, that's a lot about me. What you do need to know is I consider myself a beginner in some ways. And so this is the things that I have found out. I love investigating. So don't think that everything I say is perfect and you have to do it. So just like a little disclaimer.
I'll
So
bring up I'll bring up your slides now. Let's put them in. One moment. I think we need the reading view though.
oh, okay. Well, it's just gone to, let me see, does that make it better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay. Yep. Yep. I just
Okay.
discovered you could change screens, and so I liked it. But so if I'm not looking in the right place, it's because I've swapped my chairs over a bit. But you can't see me at the moment, can you?
No, just your slides.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So recently, I started to take a greater interest in other families' websites on MyHeritage. And while sometimes you can view people's trees, it's membership to the actual site that gives you so much more information. So these examples I'm going to be talking about are specific to my research discoveries, but I'm sure you can easily adapt these sort of concepts to your own research requirements, and you never know what you might find. So basically, I'm going to talk about what are the family websites on MyHeritage. They're not just the family trees. I'm going to talk a little bit about my research objectives and about leading on to rabbit holes, and then I'm going to give some tips and finds and examples. And if we have time at the end, we can do some questions. So I think I need to clarify what is meant by a family website. It's not just the family tree, like I said before. MyHeritage lets you create your own family. I call it a meeting place because that's what they refer to it as on the internet, your family's website. And you can invite family members or other people to participate in this site. You can post your family tree, so that's part of it, but you can also share it with your family members and share things like photos. You can keep track of family events. And my first thought is if you were running a family reunion, you would want to use it. So it only takes a little while to start creating one because a lot of it's automated and you don't need any technical experience. You just sign up to MyHeritage and you automatically are prompted to create this family site. You can add the family tree, which is obviously what most of us do, by uploading a GEDmatch or GEDCOM file, I should say, or you can actually build the family tree and then start exploring. So, one thing which I do talk about at the very end is your privacy and security. Family sites have different privacy settings. And I'm going to talk about this later, like I said. So, you've got to make sure, but you'll find online there's lots of stuff where MyHeritage will explain this sort of thing where they don't pass things to third parties and they don't sell email addresses and you get control over what email you'll get, all that sort of thing. But it's just something to remember because this is more than a tree. So there is some different types of bits of security related to the family website. So to help explain my thinking about family websites, let me tell you a bit about my family. I can't get the words out. My family history research objectives, because I think it'll make it easier to understand why I go down these paths for discoveries, but then you will be able to go down your own paths and find your own bits and pieces. So, firstly, I focus myself on my more recent ancestors than a person that collects a huge tree. There are less than 1,000 people in my tree, 814, I think it is at the moment. And although recently I've actually expanded to include more people to help with my DNA matching, it's not a big objective for me to collect as many people as I can. Right. So, my objective is about finding out about my family migration, including around local towns or even over the seas. So I've created boundaries for time, place, and people. I then go away and collect supporting information, and then I like to share it on my blog, trees, all those types of things. So, what I'm going to be talking about today is in this area of collecting supporting information and how it can be helpful on MyHeritage by joining up to or creating your own family website. So let me make the next slide go over. Okay, two things to think about also are formal research versus what I call the rabbit hole research. So in formal research, I'll write a research plan and I'll plan blocks of hours, like it might be Saturday afternoon. I have these huge spreadsheets and I tick off lists of things I do, and I avoid sidetracking, and I focus on the things that I was talking about before: location, time frames, family group, or an individual. But sometimes I'll choose to go down a rabbit hole, and it's quite unstructured. It's just grabs of minutes. I often keep what I find as a screenshot to record the finds later and follow it up in more detail, so I need to return to it. I don't have any clear focus. I'm easily sidetracked. I'll be using devices like a tablet, or it might be my laptop, and I'm probably watching Netflix at the same time. So imagine I'm watching Netflix, playing on my iPad on my knee and checking out MyHeritage. And I find a DNA match. Now, this DNA match is actually for an in law, and it's quite a good one, but I'm not sure who it is and where they fit in the tree. So, remember in my formal research, I was looking for places and people and that. This is where I'm just sort of wandering a bit, and I'm choosing whether I want to follow this up or not. Where will I end up? Now, because it's such a good match with a first cousin once removed or second cousin, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I might as well have a look. And so I start going down, looking, and I just got to try and get this slide to go there. I went and had a look, and I've hidden the people's websites, and I hope the text is big enough for you to read, because I'm basically using screenshots, hidden the people's names, and I discover that you're looking part of a website. It's private and closed to non-members. So I can't find anything out about that person. So I decided to click the home page, and when I did, I just ended up back at my own page. So as I explained before, then I think, well, I'm not going anywhere with this one. I'll go with another one. And I wandered off. And this actually happened when I was creating the little talk. I went on this wandering adventure, and I went into instant discoveries. Now, if you look at the top menu, you've got home, family tree, discoveries. Under the discoveries, there's one that is called instant discoveries. And then in the instant discoveries, there's all discoveries, person discoveries, and photos. And I saw this grey dot for my grandmother and my great grandmother. This is my name, Frances Ann, as well. So I was named after her. And I'm thinking, who would put a grey dot instead of a photo? That looks a bit interesting. So go down the view discovery path, click the link, and came up with more information. So you can see here my grandmother, my great grandmother's name, Grace Shepherd, and Frances Ann Edmonds. And again, I've hidden the details because although these are available to me, it depends what level of access you have, whether they would be available or not. So there's a levels of privacy, how these things are shared. But what I did see was a funny title for this dot. D BDS, three little I's. It could be a three DNA connection. Well, that's really interesting. Should I check it out, or what will I do? So under this text here, where you've got can't see the text, the red line where it ends in from the USA, with the arrows pointing down, there's various links, and one of them goes off to the person. And so I just clicked it. And again, it's all hidden, I'm sorry, but this person probably doesn't want me flashing on Facebook all their pretty picture and that. And you can see, though, she's the person, it happens to be a female, has been researching for over 8 years, has surnames that they're researching, and they're a site manager. And under that star is the site that I've come to have a look at. But you can see they're members of lots of sites, including 37 more. So typically next I'd also look at the website, the family website, which is under the little star. So we'll click and see where I went then, and make a page down. And this is the person what a site looks like. And my name is, and I started this site and I've been building this tree. They're a combination of historical records and DNA matches. You don't need to read the whole thing. What you will see though is that they have rewritten the default text that MyHeritage puts in there. And I recommend highly that you actually go back and change this if you have a website, one of these family websites, because the default text, although it's all right, this here is so much more inviting. Please contact me if you want to collaborate on our common ancestors, or if you notice any mistakes. There's some DNA information. The other thing that's on the family website is this family news part, and I'm just going to go down another slide to give you an idea of the types of things. So she's added this, she's changed this, she's added people. By continuing down the page, you can see she's a very active member. So I click the tree, and what I get? Private, 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 private. And I see it's a huge tree. There's nearly 123,000 people in this tree. So I'm wondering, well, do I go on or do I go back? And this slide here shows you the sort of things that you'll see when you're floating around. The page where you're trying to visit has been specified off limits by the site manager. And now there's lots of other ways you see it's restricted. It's like, you are not a member. You are not a member of this family site. Some information displayed must be restricted. But I also know that if I want to be a member, if you look at the bottom of the page, I've got an example of a typical tree where it says request membership. Now, this site doesn't even have request membership. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a person that's joined up to loads of trees, but they won't let anybody join up to their tree, perhaps. Oh, I don't know. And I'm thinking, is this the problem with rabbit hole searching? You can get deep into an idea, and the person's not accepting members to this site via the automatic link. I might just write it off and move on to look at some other odd thing that I find. Well, what do I do? This time, I decided to go back and opened up another profile sort of contact type view, which you do by clicking different buttons, and discovered the contact. And you can message the person. So I did this. So it's good having a welcome page, as I said before, that promotes people to contact you, because if I'd had the generic contact page, I might not have even bothered to carry on. So I wrote this letter to the lady, and I covered it all up because it included some details of what I've said and what she said, and got an answer back in less than 24 hours. And guess what? Those grey dots was here in my mitochondrial DNA at Family Tree DNA had a match with her father. So as you know, if people think of mitochondrial as your mother's mother's mother's, but your father gets a little bit from his mother, and then it goes back mother's 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 mother's. So this is why I couldn't find any link with him with the DNA in autosomal, because it could be a long, long, long way back. So you can see now that while there's so many people in this tree, the tree's bringing together a lot of information, including mitochondrial DNA matches, autosomal DNA matches, her genealogical research, and making other discoveries. So branches might not even be linked. It's not a perfect tree, but it's perfect for what this lady is trying to do. So then I've wandered off and looked at another one. And in this case, it's my own DNA, and I've found a person who's aged in their 30s. I know who's managing this site. I can go away and look at it. They're from the United Kingdom. I don't normally follow up matches of such a low amount of centimorgans. Normally I stick to 20 or above. But because I haven't got a lot of information from my mother's side, and she's from the United Kingdoms, well, my grandmother's from the United Kingdoms, I might follow this one up a bit further. But I go there, and again, I'm looking for the same thing about, can I join up this site? What can I see? In this case, it's a more classic answer. You can request membership. And basically, I should go back a slide. Basically, I thought that I would follow it up later if I might. But what I don't do is just automatically click request membership, because I've got a membership to a site that I have no idea that I asked why. And although there's some people who were born in Chelmsford in Essex, where my mother's side comes from, I don't know why I thought this site attracted me. So I think it's really important to keep a spreadsheet of why you actually go and start following these sites. Because if you go back later, it's like when you don't keep a source. If you don't keep your source evidence when you go back later, you can't figure out where you found it. So if I'm going to request membership, I will put it on a little spreadsheet and say why, rather than have another site that I don't know where or why I decided to follow. So let's move on to another example of a site that I joined up. Now, this is a bit of a tree from a site that I've joined. And in this tree is my grandmother, great grandmother, Mary Scott MacDonald, and my great grandfather, James Miller Ireland, and a child of theirs, Nellie Muriel Ireland, that happens to be my grandmother's sister. And there's a load of other relatives and ancestors in there. And so many have done DNA tests, and I don't know if you can see, but the arrow is pointing at a little wee DNA grey symbol. That means that person has done a DNA test. And what it means then is, if I go back to my DNA information on MyHeritage, I can use the information and the names and the things that are in this family tree to help figure out who that is. Now, normally, because this is a living person, if anybody else was looking at this tree, they wouldn't see that. But because this is a tree that I'm a member of, I can see more information than usual. So to return to the side, for the example, this person hidden under the pink here, I went off to my DNA, and I will go show you the next slide. I found her, and again, I've hidden her because I don't want to show information that's private. I already knew the little blue dot on the top right-hand side, that I'd put her in my father's side, because my paternal side, because she had matches to other people that I'd confirmed. And then the next little purple, I suppose you'd call it like a little notepaddy type thing, it's purple, so I know there's a note, and I've put in a little note. And this person I know happens to be in my main tree, and I've confirmed the match, and she's my second cousin. So that's what's useful with the family tree website. If you belong to one that is a good working website that people are regularly looking at and fixing, you can actually help solve DNA matches. And I think it's most important, though, and something that I learned from Lisa Louise Cook, is that you plant your tree in your own backyard. And so my main tree's offline, and I called it main tree here so it was easy for you to understand in the picture. But information that I've got in my main tree isn't online, and other people can't see it. So you just have to be aware of who can see what, right? So requesting membership, just to review, if you go to a site, you'll find you're not a member, you can request membership and follow it through. Now, remember, it's site managers that run the sites, and they have permission to invite other people to become site members as well. So it's not just people requesting. You can, for example, give your cousin the opportunity to join. members at MyHeritage have the ability to view public sites, including family trees, but the information that can be viewed is sometimes limited or can be quite limited. So if you find a family site that you're not a member of and would like to view the full family tree, you need to request the membership from the site manager. Now, this is a feature that not everybody has. If you request membership, you have to have a premium or premium plus subscription. Obviously, people that pay more get more features, so that is important. And I've just talked earlier about privacy. So if you share your website and family tree with others, you need to check out the privacy settings. So first of all, the big arrow on the left, edit privacy settings, is in when I'm in my profile. And when that goes into the little bit of text that's on the right, and you look at content, and when you go into content, just page down, don't try to read it all, but it's important that you slowly work through it and read it so you understand what you're giving permission to. And the arrow I'm talking about, member permissions, allow site members to post content to the site is recommended. Now, if you do what Lisa says and have your own tree in your own backyard, and MyHeritage and other trees are working places where you're collecting info, sharing with cousins, that type of thing, then it's quite all right to tick it and say that you've got these permissions, but just read all the text to see who can do what. And then the other places for the tree, in the tree settings, you can allow people to download the tree and you give permission who can edit the tree on the family site. So both of those, and this is found under the tree settings, this one. So if you want to share with others, you need to check out these settings to make sure you understand it. What my next notes? Okay, there's so much more to find. I've only given you a few examples here, but one other one is that I actually get emails when people's birthdays are. These are live people. And so it's helpful if you're doing a family reunion, you can actually send happy birthday note to your friends and family. And my favourite saying, too much family history is not enough. I actually copied it off a local sports journalist when I was listening to the sport on the radio. So thanks for listening to my little talk and story today. And if you want, I don't know if Esther's been taking note of any questions, but we can do questions if you want, or I can look at them later. Last time I looked at them later and answered some as well.
Thank you, Fran. We do have just a couple questions. We'll just take one or two if that's okay with you.
Yep.
Okay.
No problems.
Okay. I see your video has frozen, so I hope you're still there.
I don't know. I wave my arms around. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yep. Hope the picture's not too ugly.
not at all. Not at all. So we'll just take one or two.
Yep.
Julie asked, what's the best way to contact a DNA match?
I think that there's lots of good stuff. You know, people have written up about doing this, so I wouldn't be an expert. But the first time you contact, I think you can't say too much and too long because you put them off. My personal expectation is like I didn't expect that lady to come back within less 24 hours. I was just so lucky. But I would just not get your hopes up as well, because remember, a lot of people get given a gift that are only interested in their um, ethnicity. They don't go back and follow things up. So just don't get your hopes up. And then, you know, you might get contact with someone if you're lucky sometime, because if you don't feel put off by it, then, you know, it doesn't give such a bad feeling. And in terms of what you write to them, I would only write 1 or 2 paragraphs, you know, like, and each sentence have like 1.5 sentences on average. So it doesn't put them off. And be clear that you're willing to share, that you are exactly what you're interested in so that they can answer back. So I was interested in why did it have this name, the DNA, whatever it was. So she was able to answer that back. Whatever you do, don't send an email that says, "How do we match?" and you don't have a tree. Because I get people like that, and I send a note back saying, "We'll put up a public tree and I'll have a look and see how we match." So that's my main no-no is don't send a silly little email or message that says, "How do we match?" Because people haven't got time to work it out for you. It's your job to work it out for yourself. I don't know if that helps. But I would look and I'd go online and look at people that do a lot of DNA stuff and um, look at their recommendations. They're usually pretty good. People like Diane Southard, Kitty.
And we actually do have a lot of Facebook Lives that are saved. We have Facebook Lives that are saved on our Facebook page about about all these different aspects of DNA. So definitely check them out.
Yes, yes. There's also the stuff on the webinar, legacy webinar stuff. A lot of MyHeritage helpful stuff there too.
Okay, fantastic. I see Eleanor wrote a comment on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys. Nice way to start my day with genealogy motivation. So that's just so lovely to see.
Oh, that's nice.
So now I think we can give away our prize. Very exciting. Our MyHeritage Complete Plan to one lucky viewer in the audience. As most of you know, the Complete Plan will give one lucky viewer access to 18 billion historical records. And of course, that number is growing every single day as we add historical records to the MyHeritage database, in addition to unlimited family tree size, advanced DNA tools, and much, much more. Fran, how useful a MyHeritage Complete Plan is. So thank you everyone who left a comment in the comment section. And our winner is Vicky Macron. And Vicky wrote to us and said, I was able to find that my great-great-grandfather was a member of a UK regiment that came to Australia to guard convicts. So that's so fascinating, and we'd love to hear more about your story, Vicky. So please private message us to our Facebook page to claim your prize. And thank you, Fran, for joining us today, and to all of you in the audience who joined us. We really appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to see you again next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.